guys, welcome to this week's edition of the Coffee and Heroes Show. So coming to you from the store on a Tuesday, just locked up, new comic book day tomorrow. So tons to get through, as you can imagine. I mean, this is a pretty big week. Speaking of big weeks, we obviously just had free comic book day there on Saturday. So a massive and sincere thanks to everyone who walked through the door for that. It was crazy in here. It was so busy. We had a queue at the door for maybe 4 hours straight. We had a queue at the till for 4.5, 5 hours straight. We had lots of families, lots of younger readers. We obviously always have loads of the free comic book day stock in, but we'll always have stuff from previous years as well and starting points. And you know, we even had a box this year that was specifically aimed at younger readers from the last few years. You know, we've always talked about it before, how, you know, 12 and over comics, you can recommend nearly anything. You'll not see anything in most titles worse than any Marvel movie, barring maybe Doctor Strange, but we'll get on to that in a moment. But yeah, we want to always make sure we've got stuff for younger readers as well. So it was great to have that wee box, and there was lots of kids, you know, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old coming in, you know, rifling through that and having a good time. So yeah, again, it was a massive day for the store, our best ever in terms of sales and takings and so forth. And then that just allows us to reinvest more in the store, which is always our aim, to make it better, bigger, and you know, the best place possible for you guys to come to. So yeah, free comic book day 2022, big thumbs up. So yeah, with regards to the store as well, I mean, I've tons of stuff to go through here because we really increased our stock levels this week. I've got a whole pile of manga in as well. They must have got about another 60 or 70 books in there. Manga's always going to be quite sporadic. My knowledge isn't, you know, I'm first to admit it, it's not as deep as it would be with comics. But, you know, I do my best to keep up with current trends or, you know, historical runs or things like that. So we did just get a whole spate of manga in, so you can certainly check that out. I'm going to be creating a new section in the store as well. So, you know, anybody who's been coming to us for quite some time knows our emphasis is first and foremost on reading. It's about the art form itself. So we want to make it as easy as possible for everyone in that regard. You know, we don't expect any new customer to walk through the door and drop £20 on a graphic novel, £100 on an omnibus, stuff like that. You know, especially with the cost of living, you know, crisis going on at the moment and so forth. We want to make comics as accessible as possible for people, and in doing that, we are going to create a brand new section, which is essentially indie comics firsts. So what that is, it's going to be pound reprints of number ones of classic issues or classic series. So the main company that does this is Image. They have a range called Image Firsts, and I ordered a whole pile of them in this week. So you essentially get the entire first issue reprinted, and then if you like that, you can then buy a graphic novel in the confidence knowing that you've already tried it, you like the style, you like the art, you like where the story's going, and it's just it takes the pressure off just buying a number one graphic novel, maybe getting halfway through it and not enjoying it. You know, we always say that if you're not enjoying something, there's tons of other choice. So never just stick to something because, you know, you picked it up or because you've been collecting for a long time. But just give you a little bit of a hint. I mean, these were all new ones that came in this week. So you've got number one for Nocterra, so the entire first issue, Scott Snyder, Tony S. Daniels, great action adventure horror series. You've got Middle West, which we've spoken very highly in store. Scotty Young, Jorge Corona. You've got Little Bird from Ian Bertram, and Darcy Van Polgeist. This was a fantastic book. That was a 5-issue mini-series. We've got Firepower from Robert Kirkman, Chris Samney. Again, one of our favourite titles in store we talk about all the time. You've got Homesick Pilots from Dan Waters, Casper Weingart. We, of course, have Saga, you know, issue 1, Brian K. Vaughan, Fiona Staples. We've got The Fade Out, Ed Brubaker, Sean Phillips. We've got Sex Criminals, Matt Fraction, Chip Sidorsky. We've got The Walking Dead, Robert Kirkman, Tony Moore. We've got Southern Bastards, which is the two Jasons, Jason Aaron, Jason Latour. We've got Death or Glory, which is Rick Remender and Bengal. We've got Department of Truth, James Tinian IV, Martin Simmons. We've got Witches from Scott Snyder and Jock. And then Radiant Black from Marcello Costa and Kyle Higgins. So those are all new ones in this week, but we do have a selection of them from previous in the store as well. So there's some stuff from Dark Horse, there's some stuff from IDW, for example. Now, the one concession in this section, just so you know in advance, these will not be bagged and boarded in the store. So if we were to add the cost of the issues themselves plus a bag and board, it'd actually be costing us money to have these in store. So they're not collector editions, they're not long-term investments like single issues can be. These are not first print of an issue 1. They're specifically reproduction reprints aimed at giving people a taste of certain titles. So again, these will not be bagged and boarded. So just in case you see them in store, normally it's a mantra of ours to have everything bagged and boarded, but I think we can make an exception in that one case. Also related to the store as well, I always talk about the podcast on here. Keith and I interviewed 2 creators in the last week. One of those is going to be going live tomorrow, Wednesday, New Comic Book Day. And we've sort of come up with a new structure for the podcast where we're going to do weekly content, and it's going to, as much as possible, be released on a Wednesday. So Tuesday is your YouTube, Wednesday is your podcast. 1 week it might be an interview, the next week it might be reviews, the next week it might be a book club, the next week it may be the previews podcast. But our aim is to have that constant stream of content coming out and to earmark the Wednesdays. As I say, we have a creator interview that will go out tomorrow, and then we have another one in the back pocket which was conducted on Sunday. It was so much fun, which we'll certainly get to soon as well. But always keep an eye on social media channels. We'll always make sure to give you alerts when things are coming out. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast, and then you'll never miss an episode. It'll automatically download it. And of course, if you like the YouTube channel, make sure to like and subscribe with this stuff as well. So that is pretty much all of the store maintenance, if you will. So we'll move away from that and we'll move on to some new content. So stuff new in this week. So I'm actually going to kick things off. This was a request from someone in the store to do an extra little section because I want to make the show as long as possible, clearly. But what they were saying that would be a good suggestion would be to show off the variants that come in every week. Now, if there's a market for variants out there and an audience for variants, we're more than happy to keep ordering new ones in. What we find in the collector's market is most people are first print cover A. So that's why we focus on the racks being first print cover A's. And we'll get in variants where we can, you know, whether it's an artist we like or we think people in store like, or they're there for a reason. But trying to keep on top of variants is very, very difficult because there's just so many of them. And also you'll find variants, maybe they'll only release the artwork 2 weeks in advance. But I'll start this as a new section in the videos, and again, if variants are something that do well in store, we'll certainly order more of them in. So these are a combination of new ones in this week and just some restocks of some older ones that I got in this week as well. So the first one is Time Before Time. This, of course, is the Declan Shelby, Rory McConville series. PJ Holden, local artist, of course, local legend, is on board for the next issue or two of Time Before Time, and this is his variant. So this is the cover B. Declan always does the cover A's, but that's the cover B, so that's PJ Holden. Out this week as well is Nocterra from Scott Snyder and Tony Daniel. So this is issue 10, and the artist on this one is Matteo Scalera, who of course recently did King of Spies with Mark Millar, recently did Black Science, recently did the Batman White Knight special with Harley Quinn as well, so that's his variant for that series. Next up is a Sandman Universe Nightmare Country variant. This is by Andrea Sorrentino, one of my personal favourite artists. And again, beautiful cover. What you'll see with the DC ones when it comes to variants is the variants will always be cardstock. So they'll always be £1 more expensive or $1 more expensive. But they are better quality covers and better cardstock used as opposed to just paper stock. Next one up is from Roger Cruz. This is another cardstock, of course, being DC. So this is for Superman, Son of Kal-El, number 11. You know, with variants, we'll always label them as well. We'll always put in, you know, what year they were printed, the issue number, and break it down for you and make it as easy as possible. Next up is Spawn the Scorched, which is a Todd McFarlane variant cover. He's doing these sort of corner box variants, celebrating 30 years of Spawn. They're very old school sort of style, and a lot of them are homage covers. I suppose this technically counts as a variant. It's a cover A actually, but the reason I've put it in with the variants is because it is signed. So this is Ghost Rider number 1. And this is signed by writer Benjamin Percy. It comes with the certificate of authenticity from Dynamic Forces, and there was only 105 of these signed, and this is number 60, which is also noted on the cover as well. A couple that came in this week that are top-ups from previous weeks, so from Julian Totino Tedesco, Action Comics, so Action Comics 1042. Beautiful cover, again, cardstock, colours just absolutely pop on that. We got a Thor 24 one back in simply because I love this cover. I have this myself in my collection, and this is from Alex Malev. Just an absolute beauty. That thicker issue, of course, again, because this was to celebrate a certain amount of issues of Thor, and again, I just love that cover. And then another one that I collect myself that you'll have noticed on the YouTube channel, I've mentioned it a few times before, is I always collect Catwoman in variants, and that's Jenny Frisson's cardstock variant cover, and again, just back in stock this week. So we move from there, I'm going to set those to the side, and we go on to my pull list. So we move on then to my pull list this week, and again it's a usual mix of DC, Marvel, indie stuff, a couple of graphic novels. One graphic novel in particular I'm really excited about. I've been waiting quite some time for it to come out, and just all the usual good stuff, as I say. So I'll take you through everything that is on my list anyway. As ever, there will be stuff beyond this that's out this week, but this is just what made it onto my pull list. So first up, we have The Walking Dead Deluxe. We're now as far as issue 38, so we're a couple of issues into the newest story arc. This, of course, is the governor starting to find out where the prison is and maybe coming after Rick. Walking Dead just gets better and better. You genuinely forget just how good that series is. Another one that I really liked recently from Tim Seeley and Aaron Campbell was West of Sundown. This is a Vault Comics title, and it's a mixture of Western, horror, fantasy, and I just love the posters. They look like sort of 70s exploitation film type posters. Next up, we have Time Before Time. You had mentioned that we had the variant, of course, in this week, PJ Holden, but this is the cover A from Declan Shelby. I actually forgot how good Time Before Time was. I'd let 4 or 5 issues build up, and I said and read them all back to back. I genuinely forgot how good that series is. The first 2 trades are in the store if you want to play catch up. Great series though. Next up, we have Seven Secrets, number 17. So Tom Taylor, Daniel Dinoculo, Walter Bahamonte on colors. I may have already read this. It's every bit as heartbreaking as you would expect, given where issue 16 left off. But this is also the penultimate issue, as Seven Secrets is going to end at 18. So we're very much approaching endgame scenario there. Another one in this week is The Ocean Will Take Us. So this was a pretty cool all ages, sort of an all ages horror almost, if you will, from Rich Dueck, who of course we chatted to in the podcast before, did some great stuff like Road of Bones. And then it's Carlos Oliveras on art. Next up, we have Nocterra back this week. So issue 10, Scott Snyder, Tony S. Daniel. And this has been awesome. Again, horror-based, adventure-y, lots of action, great art from Tony S. Daniel as well. Then next up, we have The Joneses, number 2. So this is from Michael Morecki and Alessandro Vitti. This is the latest in an AWA series. The Joneses is compared quite favorably to Fantastic Four. This is sort of their superhero family team of the AWA universe. Next up is I think going to be a pretty big one this week, which is called Grimm. So this was getting a lot of previews in top tier boom titles, comparisons to Something That's Killing the Children. This is written by Stephanie Phillips with art by Flaviano. And again, some nice dark horror and looks really good that. Next up is Farmhand, so number 17. The Rob Gilroy series is back with issue 16 a few weeks ago after a long hiatus, and now we're into issue 2 of the 4th story arc. We move on from there to 8 Billion Genies. So this is a new Charles Soule Rand Brown one. I went for the variant of this. We only have this one, we don't have any others, just in case you look at it and go, that's awesome. But the reason I get this is because I collect Jenny Frisson variants. I showed you the Catwoman one before, and she's done a beautiful variant for 8 Billion Genies. We do have the cover A's of that in stock though. Next up is Dogs of London. So this is from Peter Milligan and Artacida on art. I remember showing this off in the previous catalog quite some time back. Looked like some great sort of mob-based English gangster type story. Looked really cool. So that's the issue 1 hitting this week. Next up, we have a return for an AWA title, which is Devil's Highway. This was a great series before. Benjamin Percy, Brent Schuvoner on art. And I love Benjamin Percy stuff in general, but I love seeing these AWA titles come back for a volume 2. So you can jump into them. We have the graphic novel, of course, of volume 1 in store, and that is volume 2. Crossover 13 is next, so we are, of course, continuing with the Donny Cates Jeff Shaw series. We are reliably informed that issue 13 is not the last issue, despite the solicitation saying otherwise. Donny Cates says he has much more to do in this universe. Then we have Keen Conan, which is issue 4 for this one. So we're continuing on. Jason Aaron, Mahmoud Asrar, you get the feeling this is very much their goodbye to Conan. And it's been pretty fantastic so far. So number 4 out this week. Next up, this is an interesting one because this is a crossover series and this is sort of the alpha issue for it. Donny Cates, of course, is writing both Hulk and Thor at the moment. So of course he's going to cross them over. Now we have people who have Hulk in their pull list. We have people that have Thor on their pull list. We have people that have both on their pull list. If you have both in your pull list, we've put this in your box. If you don't have both in your pull list, we have not put this in your box because you may only be on Hulk and you don't care about Thor. Or you may only be on Thor and you don't care about Hulk. Personally, I like them both. I read them both. I'm on it. But as I say, that's an alpha issue and a jumping on point if you're a new reader but want to get into those characters. There's actually an old issue, but it's just one to finish off a run that we need to finish, which is Hawkeye Kate Bishop, issue 4. Then we have Captain America's Symbol of Truth. So again, this was a tricky one in terms of ordering because we have people who've been on Captain America for a long time. But Captain America is now going to have 2 titles. You're going to have Symbol of Truth, which is the Sam Wilson title, and you're going to have Sentinel of Liberty, which is your Steve Rogers title. So again, I need to converse with people when they're in. Do they want to be on both? Do they want to be on one? Do they want to be in the other? Do they want to be in neither? Either way, just nice to have that clarified. Superman Son of Kal-El, number 11. So Tom Taylor, Kane Tormey is on art on this. I've already read this as well, and it was bloody brilliant. Amazing opening scene with Pa Kent and Batman talking about Alfred, which just, yeah. Next up we have Flashpoint Beyond. This of course came out last week, but I didn't have enough copies for myself. So I've got more copies in this week so I can finally jump back into this. So of course Jeff Johns is leading the way on that. We have definitely one of the titles I'm looking forward to most this week. I think it just looks like so much fun. It's called Jurassic League. So a mixture of Jurassic Park and Justice League. How can you not like the sound of that? So it's Juan Gideon on art for this one. And you just have that amazing Daniel Warren Johnson cover, and he's the writer on this series as opposed to the artist. Then we have, that is a lovely variant that I have for also for Grimm from Jay Lee. Rather nice. And then 2 just to finish off with, I have the Avengers. First of all, this is the next in the series of Mighty Marvel Masterworks. This is called The Old Order Changeth. So again, these are the full color reprints of the original stories. 10 issues at a time. This covers Avengers 11 to 20 as well. So we only order in now these DM covers, the direct market covers, because they'll always be the reprints of the older original issues. Michael Cho is doing a range of new covers for all of these, but they're available anywhere you can get books. Whereas with this, these are very much exclusive to comic stores. So I just ordered those ones in. And then to finish off, we have one of my books of the last couple of years. This is phenomenal. This is a book called Carmen. It's by Guillaume March. If you're a Sandman fan, if you're a fantasy fan, you need to get on this. This is actually the direct market exclusive cover, which has a dust jacket. The main cover is a red cover, which is just underneath this as well. We have a very limited amount of these. We do have some of the original as well. But yeah, Guillaume March, this, I can't say enough good stuff about this. It is a brilliant book. When I say we're talking about doing podcasts where we'll do book clubs and stuff like that again, this is my next pick no matter when we record. I absolutely love this book. I made sure I got to meet Guillaume March when I went to Thought Bubble last year. And interestingly enough, this image is one that we have on the wall signed to the store for the simple reason that they were Thought Bubble exclusive prints at the time, and I was determined to snag one of those. So absolutely brilliant stuff. So I'll move away from that and on to a wee bit of news before we inevitably move on to all the stuff new in this week. So in terms of the news stuff, I suppose, bit of news, bit of opinion, but we got to see Doctor Strange this week. It has, of course, opened up to a massive amount of money. It opened up to around, I think, 450 million worldwide, which is frankly insane. But that's the power of these Marvel movies now, you know. Doctor Strange is definitely got star power behind it, name recognition. But is Doctor Strange at the level of an Iron Man or a Captain America or a Spider-Man? I'm not so sure. But for it to make this amount of money, I thought it was great to see. My non-spoiler review on it, because I would never throw spoilers out. We always have a 2-week spoiler-free zone in the store, and then we allow people to talk about it. But I really enjoyed it. I thought it was visually very interesting. I thought the action was pretty cool in it. I thought it was more of a Sam Raimi movie than a Marvel movie, and that is a strength. And it has the single greatest end credit scene in Marvel history. Don't at me, don't argue with me. It's the best. So yeah, I'll maybe do a bit more of a spoiler-filled review on that maybe in the next week or so. But I thought there was tons to enjoy, and it's definitely worth seeing on the big screen because again, visually, it's really, really interesting. There seems to be a bit of a hubbub at the moment that it is violent. You know, it's got a 12A rating, or PG-13 in America, and Sam Raimi definitely pushes the boundaries of that. I always say though that it's no worse than what we saw when we were kids. You know, things like Raiders of the Lost Ark was a PG movie, Jurassic Park, Poltergeist was a PG movie. So you know, they have had a certain amount of leniency to this point, but I would certainly say for a Marvel movie, if you have younger kids, you might want to see it yourself first. There is some quite violent imagery in it. I mean, I have no problem with that nearly a 40-year-old man, but I don't know how a 7 or 8-year-old might react to it, but I thought it was great. So that's bottom line on that. Before it came on, actually, we got the trailer for Avatar, The Way of the Water, as it's called. And I mean, I loved Avatar when it came out. You know, people talk about it. It's really generic. It's really, you know, it's so predictable. It's this, it's that. I thought visually it was incredible. I thought the world building was great. I love anything James Cameron does. That man made Titanic interesting. You know, enough said. And therefore, I'm looking forward to these sequels. I do question the length of time between them because Avatar one, I think, was 2009. So I do question the time between them, but they have filmed, I believe, 2, 3, 4, and 5 back to back. So they'll obviously be released at a quicker rate. But I thought the trailer looked great. I thought, again, the visuals, obviously they're all CGI built. There's nothing shot on location, so to speak. But I thought it looked really, really good, and I'll definitely be there on day one. Speaking of filming, there was additional filming underway for Black Adam. I saw The Rock share a picture on social media showing off a better look at the suit, talking very glowing terms about the movie and about how much he's been looking forward to making it all this time. So as far as I know, it's still going to open on October 21st this year. Keep your fingers crossed, simply because DC are terrible for sticking to release dates. I'm thinking Flashpoint's never going to happen. Speaking outside as well, outside of Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness, years ago Sam Raimi did a superhero movie called Darkman. It was more of an original take, but it was like a mixture of like Frankenstein type noir with The Shadow. And the original 1990 movie had Liam Neeson in it and Frances McDormand. And it's so much fun. It's a great, great movie. But they never made a sequel. But they've actually been talking recently, Universal are speaking to Sam Raimi about maybe making a sequel. And it's great to see Sam Raimi having this enthusiasm again, because in the last 10 years he hasn't made an awful lot of movies. And I think that he's obviously got the taste for it again after making Doctor Strange. So I would love to I'd love to see Darkman come back, because quite frankly I am a fan of it. A wee story that caught my eye this week, sort of going into the comic side of things, which is kind of fun. There is a Detective Comics 27 put up for auction in the States. Detective Comics 27, of course, first appearance of Batman, one of the single most valuable books in the world. If anybody really likes this show and they want to buy it for me, I have no problem with that. The current bidding is 900,000. It'll probably multiply that by about 4, I would say, by the time it comes out. So definitely keep an eye for that. Just out of pure curiosity, I want to see if the record gets beaten again. It's been beaten a few times over the last few years. And but yeah, anybody wants to grab that for me, I'll not hold you back. But we have to end once again with the sad news of another passing of a legend in the last week. I spoke on one of the last shows about Neil Adams, and now it's the turn of George Perez. And George Perez was an incredible artist. He was a visionary for this industry. He was a writer as well. He did amazing things with Wonder Woman. He did amazing things at Marvel. He did amazing things at DC, and all around, again, was perceived as one of the good guys. Always had time for fans at conventions, would sign everything. There's stories I've read in the last week of people waiting outside convention halls because they couldn't let anybody else in. He went out, got more fans in, or signed things in the hallway. Or he always had time for his fans. And unfortunately, in the last year, he was diagnosed with a terminal illness, and they could have done performed surgery on him. They could have given treatments to him and so forth, maybe elongated his life, but it would have been at the cost of his comfort of life. So he took the decision that he wasn't going to do any of that and just wait out his last days in relative, comfort. And the outpouring of emotion, and again the outpouring of support and compliments for his work over that time was brilliant. Again, it showed who the guy was. And again, the comic world is definitely for the passing of another legend. There's too many of them going at the moment. So, but yeah, rest in peace, George Perez. Again, one of the best. So, but yeah, we'll move away from that, and we'll finish off today's show as we always do with what's new into the store this week. So we finish up as we always do with what's new into the store this week. So tons of new stuff coming in, you know, some classics coming back in stock, some brand new titles, some all ages stuff, and maybe 1 or 2 omnibuses as well. So we kick things off with, again, I was speaking at the start of the show about wanting to encourage younger readers, wanting to have good titles in stock for them, and these are definitely the kind of things that we're after. So this is a little range called Batman Adventures, and what they will do is they will be specifically for younger readers. Older readers will get something out of it because they're written by people who know these characters inside and out. But they're graphic novels. They even say it on the back here, graphic novels for everyone. And again, I've spoken before about the smaller format size, ideal for smaller hands. So with these Batman Adventures titles, one of them is called Nightwing Rising. I'm sure you can guess who the main star of that is. The next one is Cat Got Your Tongue, a little Catwoman based one. And then we also have Riddle Me This as well. So again, perfect for younger readers if you want to get them into some of the Batman stuff, but not focus on some of the darker stuff. Next up, I'd shown it earlier in my own pull list, but we have the Avengers, the latest Mighty Marvel Masterworks. And again, these are the perfect reprints of the original tales, and this is issues 11 to 20. Speaking of dark Batman stories, you have Batman The Killing Joke, the Deluxe edition. So this is, of course, the classic from Alan Moore, Bram Bolland. One of the best things you'll ever read, one of the darkest things you'll ever read. Very much not for kids. But yeah, one of my personal favourite comics of all time. A series I wanted to get back in stock. I've got the first couple of volumes of it. You know, it was a friend who reminded me of this, and I forgot just how good it was. But Justice League Odyssey was great. Joshua Williamson, Stepan Sajic mostly on art as well. And this came out of the events of No Justice and out of the events of the First Metal. There was going to be 3 Justice League titles launched. So you had Justice League Dark, you had Justice League, and then Justice League Odyssey. This one came out much later than the others for one reason or another, which was a real shame because then a lot of people missed out on it. But I wanted to get them back in stock because there is some great stuff here. You know, you've got Azrael, you've got Darkseid, you've got Jessica Cruz Green Lantern, you've got Cyborg, you know, you've got Starfire, you've got some really cool characters, and it's something quite different. And again, the artist, I'm a big fan of Stepan Sajic. Another Batman classic back in stock, which of course is Batman Arkham Asylum, a serious house on Serious Earth. Grant Morrison, Dave McKean, absolute classic, essential for anybody's collection. Can't say more than that. Speaking of essential for everybody's collection, we have Spider-Man A Life Story back in stock. So we sold out of the hardcovers this week. I believe that's them out of print for now. But we made sure to get the soft covers back in stock. So again, one of the best Spider-Man stories the last few years. Spidey getting older throughout all the decades, but touching all those classic stories throughout time. So Chip Sidorsky and Mark Bagley there. One that is sure to prove popular is Spider-Man Deadpool, Isn't It Romantic? So this is Joe Kelly and Ed McGuinness on art. This is a slightly less serious take on Spidey, a more comedic take, introducing Deadpool, a buddy cop type thing. And this collects Spider-Man Deadpool 1 to 5 and number 8 as well. I believe 6 and 7 off the top of my head were tie-in issues to a series, possibly to Secret Wars. Possibly. Or was it Civil War 2? Anywho, we move away from that and back to Spidey on his own. This is Spider-Man A Bloodline. So this came from the team of J.J. Abrams, his son Henry Abrams, and Sarah Pichelli on art, which was a fun story, really heartbreaking first issue especially. But yeah, Sarah Pichelli art is reason enough on its own. Next up, we have Spider-Man 2099. So this is quite a big collection. So this collects issues 6 to 16 of Spider-Verse. This is Peter David, of course, and art was by local legend Will Sliney as well. Next up, we have Superman, Last Son of Krypton. So a classic this. Jeff Johns and Richard Donner collaborating. So Richard Donner, of course, the director of the original Superman movie. Adam Kubert and Gary Frank on art as well. I mean, this is one of the best Superman stories. Highly, highly recommended. Went a bit old school with this one. This is Superman 0 Hour. So this basically collects all the tales that tie into the 0 Hour storyline. And it's collected into one graphic novel. So you've got writers involved in this such as Dan Jurgens, Carl Kessel, David Michelini, Louis Simonson. You've got artists such as Chris Batista, Tom Grummett, Jackson Geiss as well. So collects everything in one place. So all the titles from, you know, Superman, Man of Steel, Action Comics, etc. all into one place. A big Omni back in stock because it keeps selling out every time we get it back in is War of the Realms. So of course Jason Aaron, Russell Dodderman. This was essentially Jason Aaron's goodbye to the Thor universe. Again, it's such a weighty bad boy, and again, probably will not last long. This is one I got for myself a few weeks back, and it's so bloody good I had to get it back in stock. So Howard the Duck, by Chip Sidorsky and Joe Quinones. This contains those entire runs, which were 2 volumes. You had the first volume, which was issues 1 to 5, then you had 1 to 11, and then the Unbeatable Squirrel Girl number 6 as well. And there's also some more of the Realm stuff in there as well. So pretty definitive, great fun, great action, and yeah, the usual irreverent Chip Zdarsky storytelling. Next up, we have Batman 3 Joker. So again, another one just getting it back in stock. This, of course, is the hardcover. Jeff Johns, Jason Fay book. This is, you know, sort of your follow-up to Death in the Family, but sort of your follow-up to The Killing Joke, but sort of your follow-up to any number of Batman titles. All you need to know is it's great. Next up, we were getting Deadly Class back in stock. Any excuse to get it back, even if the cover is torturing me by reminding me of the frankly brilliant TV show that unfortunately got cancelled way ahead of its time. But yeah, first 6 issues in there, and again, can never recommend Deadly Class enough. Next up, we have We Live from the Miranda Brothers. This is an Aftershock title, 5 issues. Really, really good stuff. It was essentially a basic story all about a boy who was chosen to leave Earth on a rocket ship. And a certain amount of people were chosen, but why were they chosen? And where are they ultimately going to? Really great stuff and really great art as well. Superman Up in the Sky, I rave about it all the time. Best Superman story of the last few years. Tom King, Andy Kubert, was a 6-issue miniseries released through DC Comics. This is now the hardcover, although we did get the trade paperbacks in as well, if you preferred a little cheaper. But with this one, it's slightly bigger, so slightly larger artwork, and then you've got that nice hardcover style. This should have been in last week, but it was not sent to me, but it's in stock this week. Star Wars The High Republic, Jedi's End. We're up to volume 3 now of High Republic, and this is issues 11 to 15, as well as 2 issues Eye of the Storm as well. So we're continuing here with the Kevin Scott, Charles Soule stuff as well. I would sort of show these 4 together. We've got editions back in stock of Sin City, one of the single best comic series of all time, if you ask me. Hard Goodbye, Dame to Kill For, Big Fat Kill, and That Yellow Bastard. All Frank Miller, all represented in this beautiful edition. And just show you the different covers. Yeah, essential comics right there. Sandman Book 3, again, sold out during the week there, back in stock. This is the 3rd book of 4 DC will be releasing. And again, this is containing issues 38 to 56, Vertigo preview as well. So that's the 3rd, again, of 4 books. Death of Doctor Strange back in stock as well. So, of course, this was Jed McKay and Lee Garbett doing the really, really cool Doctor Strange series. This was a 5-issue mini-series, the final saga of Doctor Strange, if you will. And definitely rather timely given the mid-credit sequence of Doctor Strange 2. What could I mean? Next up, we have Dune, Tales from Arakin. So this is the mini-series essentially collected into one hardcover. So you had the 12 issues of Dune before this, but now you have Dune, Blood of the Sardaukar, and A Whisper of the Cladden Seas as well into one volume. Next one up is Shadow Man, which is from Jimmy Delano and Charlie Adler. Shadow Man's not something I've read a lot of, but this is apparently a really iconic run. Great creators on it. Shadow Man I always remember mostly from the Dreamcast days, really showing my age, which had a really brilliant Shadow Man game. So I've actually got, I'm going to be taking one of those myself. We have The Defenders, There Are No Rules. This is Al Ewing, Javier Rodriguez. Beautiful looking series, some amazing art by Javier Rodriguez, and of course some great cosmic storytelling from Al Ewing. Campisi The Dragon Incident is up next. So this comes from the team that did Kaiju Score, James Patrick and Marco Licati. I've been told some really good stuff about this. I personally haven't read it, but I understand it basically mixes mob with dragons and fantasy, so sounds good to me. Next up, we have Batman vs. Bigby, A Wolf in Gotham. This was a great crossover miniseries. I haven't read all of Fables, but I was able to jump straight into this. Of course, the Wolf being Bigby, who is, you know, the great detective from Fables, and he comes to Gotham to investigate a murder, which Batman's not too happy about. Really good stripped back series. Looks as Batman as a detective more than anything, and a nice tonic to sometimes all the other maybe over the top Batman stuff we get. I'll not say much about this because I spoke about it in such glowing terms in my pull list. This is Carmen, fully collected, and again, just to show you the 2 covers. This is the one with the dust jacket, which is the direct market exclusive, and then we have here, this is what the main cover looks like, which is not too shabby either. So both in this week. Last few to get to, we have Justice League Prisms. And this is the Brian Michael Bendis and David Marquez run. Good stuff there. We have Spirits of Vengeance, Rise of the Midnight Suns, which is collecting together some classic Johnny Blaze stuff. We have King of Spies, Mark Millar, Matteo Scalera, amazing title that. Jane Foster, the Saga of the Mighty Thor. This is putting together all the Jason Aaron, Russell Dalrymple, and Steve Epting stuff. We have Gun Honey, which we had in before. Hard Crime Noir, adults only title. Doctor Who comic, which is Empire of the Wolf mini-series as well. We finish off with Ghost Rider, the Epic Collection, which is the first volume of Ghost Rider. So it's Ghost Rider from the start. I may have rushed through the last couple there at the end, but I'm about to get thrown out of Smithfield and wanted to get through them all. So, as ever, all these titles will be in store on the Wednesday New Comic Book Day, all available. If anything catches your eye, just drop us a message. But I hope you guys are staying safe out there. I look forward to seeing you in store this week, and take it easy.